Guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'll be discussing frequently asked questions that I always get in my DMs. So I deemed it necessary to make a video about it so that each time I get a similar question I can always refer the person back to my YouTube. Okay, so some of the frequently asked questions that I get is number one, how can I immigrate to Canada? Now, there are different pathways that you can use to immigrate to Canada. I remember in my earlier video, I discussed about 14 pathways that you can use to immigrate to Canada. But then don't forget that there's a difference between immigrating to Canada and becoming a permanent resident. Okay, you can use different routes to immigrate to Canada, such as the study route, caregiver, visitor route, and the rest. So to get the full ways you can use to immigrate to Canada, just go to Canada website www.canada.ca. So there you will get the different routes, the different ways, that you can use to immigrate to Canada. And don't, like I said earlier, don't forget that there is a difference between immigrating to Canada and then transitioning to permanent resident. So the subsequent questions will help to state the difference. So number two is, which is the quickest route of immigrating to Canada? This particular question, I wouldn't say any of them is quick due to the processing time that the IRCC are using to process some applications. Though some people say it's study route, but I wouldn't really say it's study route. The reason being that you can get admission, but then the time to take to get your study permit is another thing. Of recent, people are deferring their admission because the study permit is not approved yet, and there is no way you can travel to Canada without your study permit. It's not possible. So the thing is, you should do what works best for you. If you feel study route is okay, and you want to immigrate to Canada through study route, fine. But don't also forget that study route is quite expensive. Okay. So number three, what is express entry? Like I told you before, number one, that immigrating to Canada is different from becoming a permanent resident. Now, express entry helps you to become a permanent resident. Under the express entry, we have the Canadian Experience class, the Federal Skilled Worker, then the Federal Skilled Trade Program. Okay, so I discussed extensively the criterias of each of these programs in order to transition you to become a permanent resident. I think it's in one of my YouTube. I'm very sure I discussed that, so you can go scroll down and check express entry. I explained everything about that. So through express entry, you can become a permanent resident. What is comprehensive ranking score? So comprehensive ranking score is a score. Let me say, Canada, they rank people based on their different scores. In order to get your own comprehensive ranking score, you must have to take a language test, then get your credentials assessed if you schooled outside Canada, and what else? You need a proof of fund as well, and other criteria to get comprehensive ranking score. So it's just a point-based something. For example, if you're taking JAMB, that one you say, okay, JAMB cutoff point is this. Maybe you're going for a particular course, maybe like medicine. They say, okay, For students that want to qualify for medicine, you need to have 250 and above. That's what comprehensive ranking score is. It's just ranking you among every other person. Okay. Then sorry what comprehensive ranking score is best to qualify for the draws? Now, I will not say there is best that will qualify you for the draw. You need to go to the previous draws as well as the people in the pool. That will determine if you are okay, because this thing is very competitive. Okay, if you see that maybe your score is 400 and you're seeing in the pool people are already 500 plus, so you will advise yourself, if you eventually get an invitation to apply with the scores you have. And another thing to determine that is to go to previous draws, the draws that have happened previously, to know if your score is good enough to get an invitation to apply. So if you know that your score is not good enough, there are some things you can actually do to increase your score. I think that's still one of part of the frequently asked question, and we discuss that as well. So you need to increase your score if you think your score is not good enough. But then before you enter the pool, know that there is a minimum requirement you must do or get, which is the language score, which you must have band 7 in all excuse me, you must have band 7 in all the tests, which is the listening, writing, reading and speaking. Okay, then you need to have your credential assessment and all that. Okay, then the next one is, what is ECA? So when you see anything ECA, it means educational credential assessment. Like I said earlier, if you schooled outside Canada, Canada does not recognize that certificate. So the only way they can recognize your certificate is to get it assessed, so that they will know the equivalent with the Canada standard education. So if you want to enter the pool, you must have your credential assessed first, so that if, for example, you have BSc in Nigeria, you should be able to do an educational credential assessment to know if that BSc is the same thing with BSc in Canada. If you have masters in Nigeria, you'll be able to do the assessment to know if the masters here in Nigeria is the same thing with masters in Canada. That is basically ECA. Okay, then how can I do my ECA? There are different organizations that already assigned, that is recognized by the government of Canada, to do your ECA. On my Instagram page, I listed out some of the organizations that you can use to do your ECA. Okay, but basically people prefer to use WES or IQAS. Okay, like those people that are lawyers, they prefer to use the IQAS, because at the end, that lawyer is equivalent to masters in Canada. But when you use WES when you are a lawyer, it might end up as a PSC. Okay, so I discussed that on my Instagram page. You can go to my Instagram page to check the different organizations that can access your credentials. Then another question is, who are my dependent children? Now, your dependent children are your own children. Okay, they are your own children. Those are called the dependent children. Note that they are not your grandchildren. Okay, they are your own children. Those are your dependent children. Now, who are your family members? Your family members are your spouse, your common law partner. If you don't know what common law partner is, it simply means you've been living with a man or a woman, but you are not legally married. That is common law partner. So it is recognized in Canada. So your family members is your spouse or common law partner, your dependent children, and your spouse's dependents, meaning your step sons or your step daughters. Those are your family members. This means that if, for example, before you got married to your husband already have a child, that child is part of your family member. Or if you marry a woman that already have a child, that child becomes your family members. Okay, then how much do I need to immigrate to Canada? Now, Canada have proof of fund that is needed to, as in the minimum proof of fund that you must have to qualify through for express entry or for study routes. I posted it on my Instagram page. You can go check it out. But that does not mean you will just like restrict yourself towards that. That is the minimum requirement for proof of fund for Canada. But then if you want to get the total, calculate how to do your ECA, the amount it takes to do ECA, the amount it takes to get your IELTS, which is the test language exam, or the French and all that, those miscellaneous expenses, then you know the total amount. Then you add it up with the proof of fund which is required by the IRCC. That should tell you the total amount that you need to immigrate to Canada. What is language test? So simply put that language test is to test your language. If you say you speak English, you will take an English language test, which is IELTS. Then there is a minimum band that you will get to qualify for express entry, which is band 7 in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. That's the minimum band you can get to qualify you to enter express entry. Or if you speak French, if French is what you speak, then for them to know that okay, you know how to speak this French, you have to also take a French language, which is TEF Canada, Test d'Evaluation Française. That's the one you will take. Then if you're fortunate that you are bilingual, meaning you can speak English and French, then in order to boost your comprehensive ranking score, you can take the two exams. That helps to boost your comprehensive ranking score. So okay, let me chip this in. I told you that comprehensive ranking score is like a competitive score you will get in the pool. Okay. So in order to increase your comprehensive ranking score, if for example you have just BSc, these are for people that is especially above 30. In fact, with the nature of the competition, those in their mid-20s too, to increase your chances better, I think this will still apply to you because those people in the pool, the numbers are quite high. Okay, so in order to increase your comprehensive ranking score, if for example you have a BSc, all you need to do is either do a postgraduate diploma or a recognized certification which you will add to get 2 or more credentials. That will increase your score. Or if you don't want to add a PhD, you can go ahead to do masters, because the point you get for 2 or more credentials is a little bit less than when you do your masters. Okay, then if you have masters and you see that your score is not still high enough, you can decide to do PhD, but PhD takes a little more time. So another way you can increase it is to max out your IELTS. Normally the minimum band that is needed is band 7 in all, but I will always encourage people to max out. You can get listening 8 and the rest 777, or you can even get listening 8.5, reading 8, writing 7.5, speaking 7.5, or even 8. Make sure that you max out so that you get the total point when it comes to language. Also, you can take TEF Canada. Just try to learn French. Me, I learned French just to max out, and there are lots of advantages of learning French. I've said that severally on my Instagram page. Lots of advantages. When you come to Canada and you're bilingual, the salary is different from people that are not. I've said that severally on my page. So learning French is something that is very good, not just to even get you invited. So I always encourage people to learn French. Then you take the TEF Canada exam. That will add additional 50 points. Some people even get up to 60 something, some 70, depending on the number of scores. Okay, the number of scores you have in your TEF Canada. I think the highest is C2. So if you max out your TEF Canada, you will see that your comprehensive ranking score will blow, as it will really increase. Okay, so those are the ways that you can increase. Or if you still want to increase your points, you can decide to come to Canada to school, because schooling in Canada can also increase your points. Okay, it can increase your points. Then which other way? That's basically all. That's basically all to increase your points. Then another one is, must my proof of fund include my stepchildren? Oh yes, your proof of fund should include your stepchildren. Like I told you, who are your family members? They include both your stepchildren. So whether they are coming with you to Canada or not, your proof of fund must include them. Okay. Which of my family members needs medicals? All your family members needs medicals. Both the minors, they need medicals. That includes your spouse, your children, your spouse's dependents, which is their children, that's their stepchildren. They all need medicals. Whether they are coming with you or they are not coming with you, they all need medicals. Then this one, I get it sometimes. Who are francophones? Francophones are people that basically speak French. They can be bilingual as well, but their primary language is French. So that's their first language is French. So those are the